the program's been a success already. We are, if you look through the history of our drilling, you can see we're consistently getting intercepts well above our target grade of 1.2%.
Hello, welcome to Assay TV. Today, I'm joined by Jed Richardson, who is President, CEO, and Director of Trigon Metals. Trigon are focused on mining for copper in Africa. They have the Kombat Mine in Namibia and the Silver Hill project in southern Morocco. Jed, great to see you here today. If we could start things off with a little bit of an overview of the company. Tell us a little bit about your main project there, the Kombat Mine in Namibia.
Sure. Kombat Mine is a mine with 45 years of mining history. It was closed in 2007, 2008, where the previous owners kind of overinvested and spent $90 million on a new shaft that bankrupted them. We've been working on the restart of the mine. In fact, we actually had it in production earlier this year. We're looking to produce about 8 million pounds of copper annually from an open pit. Then we have 2 stages of underground development where we'll grow to 30 million pounds of copper and then up to 60 million pounds of copper once we're in full production.
I see that you recently did some sort of mine pit optimization work on the project. Tell us a little bit about what you've done there.
Yeah, so when we initially started, we were mining in an area that ended up being relatively low grade. What we've been working on since August is focusing in on a trend of mineralization that's much higher grade. It's all sulphide ore, which we get much better recoveries from. And then we're looking to restart next year using this area and using that higher grade material and operate at much lower operating costs.
You recently also announced the closing of a big streaming deal with Sprott, $37.5 million, I think. What are you going to use those funds for?
Yeah, this was a really important deal for us. This we forward sold our silver, and this gives us all the capital we need to restart the open pit and then get in and pay for that first stage of underground development. So we have the capital we need to get to that 30 million pounds of annual copper production.
And in terms of the balance between copper and silver, how much silver are you planning to produce?
Yeah, it's definitely a copper mine. The silver accounts for about less than 4% of our revenues.
Okay.
That changes, of course, when you look at our project in Morocco, which is much more silver.
Absolutely. But before we come to that, I mean, in terms of sort of further exploration potential around Kombat, it's on a sort of, I believe, sort of 35-kilometer mineralized trend. Is that correct? And more exploration along there as well, yeah?
Yeah. So interestingly, over that 45-year history, the mine all operated on about 4 kilometers of strike. And in fact, our restart that we have right now is only looking at resources over about 6 kilometers. But we now control 35 kilometers of strike length along the Kombat trend. And there's multiple points where we have surface mineralization along that area. So through the next few years, really, we'll continue to explore the full strike length and really see how large an operation this could become.
So I've seen you've been putting out some results from your recent drilling at Kombat. How is the program going?
No, the program's been a success already. We are, if you look through the history of our drilling, you can see we're consistently getting intercepts well above our target grade of 1.2%. Right? You'll see intercepts of 4 to 6 meters at 7. We've got intercepts of in excess of 20 meters. So one of the challenges when we were operating earlier this year was we were getting narrow veins, oxide mineralization, and then we were struggling with grade control. That's not going to be the case. We can see that already in our drilling. We're getting nice wide intercepts, strong grades, all sulphides. It's good. It's good looking stuff.
And more results still to come, yeah?
Lots.
Lots of potential news flow ahead for that then.
Absolutely.
Talking of Silver Hill then, up in Morocco, what have you got there?
Yeah, in Morocco, we acquired a Moroccan prospecting company, which gives us 100% of the project. There's no carried interest or royalties, and I would say it's a new discovery. We were first drawn to the property through some ancient workings, and we drilled around those workings, got some great mineralization, but our best result was actually came from a trench, which was 13 meters at 2.7% copper with 34.5 grams per ton silver and 0.082 kilograms of cobalt. We have now done some geophysics, remote sensing on that property, and we found that where we're getting the mineralization shows up very well as an anomaly, but it's not the strongest anomaly on the property. So we're now organizing a drill program to test those anomalies, and we think we're on the verge of a pretty interesting discovery.
I mean, those historic workings, I mean, they were just on the surface, I assume?
Yeah, there was some small adits, some old trenches that we could find where they've been working on what looked like veins, but really they were just scratching at the mineralization.
So much more potential at depth. What are your plans going forward though to get some sort of drill rigs turning over there?
Yeah, no, we're working on a program where we've highlighted 4 very strong chargeability anomalies or IP anomalies, and we'll make a big announcement when we start working down there, and we should get that going pretty soon.
Okay, well, we'll look out for that. In terms of the sort of the general picture, though, the copper market at the moment, sort of why copper and why Africa?
Yeah, copper is, I think for those of you watching will know that there's with the trend in electric vehicles, there's going to be a lot of demand for copper. But I think something lesser that isn't spoken about in the same degree is what needs to happen infrastructure-wise. That there's a lot of power infrastructure that needs to go into to handle all of us plugging in our cars at home. So that's a big part of the demand side. On the other side, Chile and Peru, which is where most of our copper has been coming from for the last 30 years, are steadily producing less and less. They're getting harder and harder to explore in as you starting to have governments that are not as friendly to mining as they would have been in the past. And I think the world is going to have to depend on Africa. If Latin America is not the source of copper, you really just have Africa and maybe Mongolia as places where you can go to for large amounts. And where we are in Namibia and Morocco, we think are some of the best jurisdictions you could be operating in. Namibia has a long history of being a great jurisdiction to be operating mines in, and Morocco has a strong mining heritage. It's not as well known exploration-wise, but great infrastructure, friendly government. I think it's going to become quite the destination for exploration, and definitely a great destination for copper discoveries.
Fantastic. So over the next sort of few months, as we look towards the end of the year and into 2023, what are the sort of key milestones that investors should be looking out for from Trigon?
Sure. So we will be regularly putting out updates exploration-wise from Kombat as we build out our this higher grade resource for our restart. We'll see exploration coming from Morocco as we target those those areas at Silver Hill, and then we'll have an updating of the resource at Kombat, and then the restart of the mine. Looking to do that early next year. So excellent. I think those are the key things.
That's a busy few months ahead for you, but we look forward to hearing all about it as things develop. But thank you very much for joining us today to tell us all about the company.
Thank you, Leo.